Before World War II, they started a building next door, but war interrupted it, and so after the war, then they finished what we now know as the Visintainer building. That became 1st through 8, and then the high school was 9 through 12. And then the boom started. Each of those buildings was also growing, but then of course they started to put additions on them in different time periods. They discovered a lot of asbestos, and because some child had become sick in what is now the Visintainer building. So they shut that building down and just put people out, in different places. So Visintainer, they just turned one part of it, the oldest part, which probably did not have asbestos yet, because asbestos wasn't common earlier. They used that as a community center.
They honored Lou by naming the community center. And we were so honored with that. The community center, people could be in it for short periods of time. They couldn't be in it all day, every day. When the superintendent, Jim Hayes, he told me that they were going to renovate the community center and make it a school, I was so pleased and so grateful to the Brunswick school system for honoring Lou in such a wonderful way. Thank you so much. My name is Nancy Visintainer. I am the widow of Louis J. Visintainer, for whom Visintainer Middle School was named. As of May the 7th, I will be widowed 32 years. Yes, Lou has been gone that long. I taught music at Applewood, and I call it Grafton Road, but it's Kidder, but I taught there when it was Grafton Road. And I got stage curtains at both of those schools, and I went to the principal and I said, "Where'd these come from? How did I get them?" The Brunswick Entertainment Company provided them, and that's what they did. Any money they got from their performances, they gave back to the schools. So I said, if they are going to support me, I'll support them, and I joined. And of course, Lou was the MC, and that's how it started. He remembered me from being the brat in high school, and we dated. No one knew we were dating. It was a very quiet thing. It was so funny because Sam Boyer wrote in the Gazette once that what high school administrator is dating a music teacher in the same school system. And it kind of came out then.
I had a lot of respect for Mr. Visintainer because of his humility, his humor, and his honesty.
He was such an influential man because he was honored and admired by so many. As you talk to other people and learn about him and what he does, it's his kindness and generosity that really touched so many people.
He actually was the first assistant principal of Brunswick High School. In '56, he took that position. In fact, he took that position to be the assistant principal to Maud Edwards.
Probably up until the mid-60s, he knew every kid in school, knew their name, where they were, who their father, mother, brother, sister, the whole family relationship.
If he saw a student and they'd come up to him and he'd say, "Oh, do your mom and dad still live at a certain place? And what about your sister and your brother?" And name them. And it was like, this is impossible with all the students, but he did. He thought the world of them.
He would tell the kids these jokes in class, and he says, "I get more fun out of watching their reaction when they don't get it."
Timing is so important when you're telling a joke. And Lou had such good timing.
Mr. Visintainer was a character, and you had to like him. There was just nothing not to like.
we overlapped our administrative careers for a little bit of time, and I ran into him a couple times at administrative meetings. And even at administrative meetings, there would be a serious subject the superintendent would be talking about, and he'd have some kind of wisecrack. He was just a fun guy.
I didn't know him as well as Bud did, but he had a reputation for being the kind of person that if he knew you needed help, if there was something he could do, he would do it. But he'd never let anybody know. He was very modest, and his wife was a sweetheart too.
He was a war veteran. He fought in the South Pacific in World War II, and when he got home on the GI Bill, I assume he went to Baltimore College and got his degree and made a life for himself doing what he loved to do, teach and be around kids. I think he was the kind of guy that just wanted to make a difference. And I think he really did, not only for the schools, but the community in general. He was a good guy. He went to Maude Edwards and said, this is really not for me. I want to go back in the classroom.
I think it just hurt him a little bit every time he had to discipline. He had asked several times, and they said, no, we need you. And we had a new superintendent. His last name was Veering. And he went to Lou, he said, do you really want to go back to the classroom? And Lou said, I really do.
He missed the kids and being able to teach them. And so he actually went back to the classroom, and that's a testament to what kind of guy he was.
He didn't like paddling. He didn't like the discipline. The students loved him, but he didn't like that part of his job.
To me, that shows a lot of humility. Because how people, if you're an administrator and all of a sudden people see you back in the classroom, they think that you were either ineffective or you did something wrong. Well, he made that choice from all the information that I have because he wasn't happy. And in fact, after he retired, he made a comment to a reporter, it may have been Sam Boyer, but he made a comment to a reporter in his retirement when asked why did he go back to the classroom. And he said something to the effect that, I went to school to be a history teacher. I didn't go to school to be a disciplinarian. That's, in period, that's what he said. Because really, even today, assistant principals, much of their day is discipline and attendance. And he felt, no, that's not me. I want to be a teacher. So I think that says a lot about him as a man.
And so Lou said to me, since we're getting married, I need to tell you, I have a chance to go back to the classroom. What are your thoughts? And I said to him, well, you better do it now because I don't ever want to know what it was like to live on a higher pay. Because, of course, he took a big cut in pay to go back to the classroom. I admired him. I loved him. I respected him so much. And I was honored when he asked me to marry him. Being married to Lou was such fun. Everyone knew he had a wonderful sense of humor. He kept us laughing all the time.
I think he was the kind of guy that, even though on the surface he was like lively and comical and funny, but I think he was very introspective. I think he wondered about what his life was all about, and my impression is he wanted to make sure that he was living his life the way that gave him the most happiness. That's how I would describe him.
I think he demonstrated the character and the personality that you need to be a very successful leader.
Gentle giant.
Yeah, I would say genuine, funny.
A caring person. And tall.
He was one of the giants in the past of Brunswick City School District. I mean, there's some incredible people that worked in this district before I got here. And that's why Brunswick's the way it is now. It's just something that doesn't happen overnight. You build off the giants, the shoulders of the giants in the world, and he was one of them.
I think he started in 51, and he retired. He became very ill, and he had to retire. So
Lou retired, I think, in '85, and unfortunately, he didn't live too much longer after that, I think 4 or 5 years.
my children and I were extremely grateful to Brunswick for the honor that they bestowed on Lou. Mr. Shirosky has been extremely kind and thoughtful. And when we walked in, at the 2 entrances were the 2 rugs that said Visintainer and had a big V. And I asked him for those rugs. And in the summer, on my patio, my table and chairs sit on the rug that all the kids walked across as they came into the building in the morning. And I just, when I go out on my patio, I think of all the students that went through Visintainer and got the excellent education that Visintainer teachers gave. They were, in my eyes, the best.